Good evening, I'm Paul Murphy-Kasp. So it's the end of the first working week of London's expanded ultra-low emission zone. And today we learnt that more ULEZ cameras have been vandalised. There have now been more than 500 reports of crimes relating to the cameras across the city.
The London Air Ambulance has just landed and we're going to take you behind the scenes on this Facebook Live here on Facebook and on the BBC London website. We want your questions as well. We're going to be speaking to one of the pilots and one of the medics who often fly in the helicopter, so you can leave us a message in the comments below.
If politics was a soap opera, then this week's TV ratings would be through the roof. We've had a Prime Minister resign and the second Conservative leadership contest this year. Let's take a closer look at those numbers. Now, going back a decade, 2013, just over 2,500 people were diagnosed with HIV in London. Since then, the numbers have been gradually falling.
This might look just like any other rugby practice, but to these men, it's so much more than that. It's not just a chance for them to run around, get a bit muddy and let off some steam. It's a chance for them to really talk to each other about what's going on in their daily lives. Ja, vi älskar detta landet, or the national anthem of Norway to you and me. It marks the start of Constitution Day celebrations in London, a day that's steeped in heritage and seen as the birthday of modern Norway.
On a busy Friday or Saturday night, the Royal Vauxhall Tavern could hold around 400 people at capacity. But with social distancing and other measures likely to be put in place post-lockdown, they could just see around 60 people allowed through the doors at any one time. And while that makes sense from a public health standpoint, financially, it could spell disaster. Thames Water says that the average person uses about 150 litres of water per day, but with a hosepipe ban, it hopes to bring the average numbers down by a third. So from Wednesday, we're being told not to use hosepipes to clean vehicles and windows, water our gardens, or fill up paddling pools. There's also a ban on jet washers and on sprinklers, but there are some exemptions. Now, with more than 200 buskers registered with Transport for London, they're a common sight on the Tube network. But one man's been busking for more than 20 years, making his living from it, and he has no plans to stop. Meet Fabio Ted.
Thank you very much for joining us and good luck this evening. Well, the scene is set, the voices are warming up, and before I start singing, Riz, it's back to you.
Thanks very much, Paul.
Since the war in Ukraine began in February, over 102,000 refugees have come to the UK, either being housed by individuals or by local authorities. Many of them ended up in towns and cities due to existing Ukrainian communities in those areas, the possibility of finding work and it being quite easy to get around. That's about it from me, so thank you for joining us. You can, of course, get the very latest whenever you want on the BBC London website, the BBC News app, and on our socials, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. From me and the rest of the late team, whatever you're doing, have a great weekend. Bye-bye.